This is a film that was banned in mainland China for 14 years. No stars, no special effects, just a raw story about a business operating hundreds of meters underground. But they weren't mining coal, they were mining human lives. The story takes place in northern China during the late 1990s. It was a place of countless illegal private mines. No licenses, no safety standards, only pitch-black tunnels and the constant, lethal risk of a cave-in. In this darkness, two miners thrived, Tang and Song. Tang, experienced, cold-blooded, a remorseless killer. To him, this was just a job. The targets were prey, their deaths were a payday. Song, he killed too, but before every strike, he would tremble, he would hesitate. He hadn't completely lost his humanity. On the surface, they looked like any other miner faces covered in coal dust, bodies drenched in sweat. But they weren't there to dig. They were running a business so sinister, it's hard to believe. Their method was chillingly calculated, the hunt. They would scout train or bus stations for lone migrant workers from out of town, luring them to the mines with the promise of making a fortune. The kill. Once deep in the darkness of the shaft, they would brutally murder the victim with a hammer or a wooden stake, and then stage it as a mining accident. The extortion. They would pose as the victim's relatives, knowing the mine owner was terrified of a government shutdown or legal trouble. They would use threats and intimidation to extort a massive private settlement fee. This wasn't just a screenwriter's imagination. This was based on grim, real-life events. After several successful contracts, they found their next target, a 16-year-old school dropout named Yuan. His father had left for work 6 months ago and vanished without a trace. To keep his younger sister in school, the boy left home alone, his eyes full of innocence and a desperate hope for the future. Tang and Song approached him with warm smiles and familiar hometown accents, playing the role of caring elders. The naive boy lowered his guard, seeing them as protectors in a strange, harsh land. They lured him to an illegal mine in Shanxi. Song even took on the role of the boy's uncle. The boy didn't know he was walking into a death trap, but more tragically, he didn't know that the last place his father was seen alive was a mine, just like this one. Once at the mine, the atmosphere shifted. Song began to waver. The boy's pure, helpless nature reminded him of his own child back home. Seeing Yuan's clear, trusting eyes and hearing that he was only working to support his sister's education, something buried deep within Song, a father's instinct, was triggered. What made it harder for Song was that Yuan truly treated him like an uncle. Using the very first paycheck he earned, the boy bought a whole chicken for his uncle. But Tang was a sociopath. He grew impatient, eager to finish the job and get the money. Song fiercely opposed him, refusing to strike. His hesitation eventually sparked Tang's lethal suspicion and rage. During a shift deep underground, Tang's patience finally snapped. He ambushed Song first and prepared to slaughter the boy. Song fought back. In the narrow, suffocating darkness of the shaft, the two partners turned on each other like trapped animals fighting for survival. In the end, both men died in the very blind shaft that had swallowed so many of their victims. The bloody tragedy ended in an unexpected way. The most vulnerable player, Yuan, miraculously survived. He walked out of the mine not only with his life, but with a massive compensation check given to him by the mine owner, ironically, the payout for the deaths of his uncles. As Yuan sits on the tractor, looking back at that oppressive landscape, the audience is left with a haunting question. In that darkness, which is deeper? The mining shaft, or the bottomless abyss of human greed?